Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama strategy session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. Hello, friend. Welcome to Emotionally Healthy Legacy podcast. If you are new here, I am so excited that you are here. This is not my normal episode. This is an episode where I go a little bit behind the scenes into my day-to-day life, just so you get to know me a little bit better. I personally really enjoy hearing behind the scenes of podcasters that I am invested in, the ones that I learn a lot from. So I actually enjoy listening to a little bit of bits behind their personal life, how things are going. And that's what I'm here for today. What I'm going to share with you, just kind of how things went in August, September, October. I used to do that once a month, but just kind of with the summer and all the things, I haven't done it as often. So just thank you for choosing to listen to this episode. I am so grateful that you are here. I don't know if you know this, but if you leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, you can get a free training called How to 10x Your Emotional Capacity Levels as a Mom. So if you feel completely depleted, worn down, feel like you're running on empty, that you're constantly reactive with your kids, and it's just because you are so depleted emotionally, this training is for you. You can get it completely free if you leave a 5-star rating and review and email it to me, hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you just scroll down in the show notes, you can purchase the training for $27. Anyways, let's get into this episode. So we live in Florida. We live in North Florida. And my kids went to school in middle of August. So back to school was middle of August. It was great for the kids to go back to school because I personally have never homeschooled, never felt called to homeschool, though I have clients that homeschool. And I just am an introvert. I'm an introvert person and I need quiet and alone time during the day. And even when my kids were home during the summertime, we would have quiet in the afternoons constantly. Plus, it's so hot. Here in Florida, you can't really do anything. Either way, like I needed some quiet after having 3 boys that can get really loud. And now I just have one little girl with me during the day, which is great. We would go on walks with her in the mornings after we drop off the boys. Today, for example, I went with her to an indoor park. There's a church not too far away called Trinity Church, and they have an indoor play park for kids. And so I took her there while I worked on my BSF, which is another thing that I joined last spring, Bible Study Fellowship, and it was on the study of John, and that was really good. And then this year, they're doing the study of Revelation, which is something that I think just in general, I kind of avoid reading the book of Revelation. I've read through it before, but it just brings up a lot of anxiety for me, I think, thinking of the end of times. So I had the tendency of avoiding it. So I am actually looking forward to going through the book of Revelations and understanding it better. Like, what does the Bible mean when it says XYZ? Because all those things with like all those wings and all those dragons and all those things feel really confusing to me. And having more like explanations of what that means and having that hope for the future instead of just anxiety, I think that's going to be really, really helpful. One of the things that is different this year from last year is that my daughter last year would nap during quiet time in the afternoon. I would put her down around 12:30 and she would nap for a couple hours before we would go pick up the boys. So my daughter doesn't nap anymore. She is 3 years old. Actually, all my boys gave up naps around 2, which is brutal and hard, especially with all of them. I would have like another pregnancy when they're around that age, and I would really want to lay down and nap, and they just wouldn't. And it was so tricky. And I remember feeling so mad and feeling so frustrated that all I wanted was for my toddler to nap so I could take a nap because I felt physically exhausted and they just wouldn't. And it felt so, so frustrating. So frustrating. And sometimes I remember just giving them, turning on screens just for the sake of me taking a nap because I needed that during my pregnancy. All right. Well, my daughter doesn't nap anymore. How she still stays in quiet time is because of this tent crib that I've mentioned on my podcast many times before. It's like a mesh see-through tent that goes over her crib and under the mattress, and you zip it up. And so then the toddler cannot get out. And ours, we even have to clip it with a big safety pin because she would be able to open the zipper by now. And so that is how she stays in her crib during quiet time. I put some magnet towels in there, some toys. Sometimes I give her some snacks, make sure she goes potty before she goes in there. So she'll stay there for an hour and a half. Sometimes she falls asleep, which she usually, if she does that, it's right before we need to leave the house to pick up my boys from school, which means I need to wake her up. And then when you wake up a toddler, when they are like in deep sleep as they just fall asleep, that almost never goes well. I don't remember a single time it went well with any of my kids. So that is a whole nother thing, a tricky thing that I'm dealing with. So now she doesn't nap most of the days. If she does nap, it's late in the afternoon. I need to wake her up from that nap to pick up the boys. And then we have a cranky toddler. And on top of that, she is going through the 3-nager stage. I know people have told me that girls are like very dramatic and have big emotions, but oh my goodness. It's like a whole new level compared to my boys. I just don't remember my boys having such big feelings as she does. So I am right in the midst of it. with really, really big meltdowns over anything that does not go her way. And sometimes, and it's not that it necessarily frustrates me because I know she just has big emotions. It's just like, do I have the time right now to deal with the meltdown? And many times I do, and I just let it happen because it's okay for you not to get things your way. You need to learn to accept it, right? Or do I have the emotional capacity? Because in the evenings, sometimes I just don't have the emotional capacity to deal with the big meltdown and the big emotions. And I tend to give into whatever she wants, whichever cup she wants or the milk that she wants instead of dinner or whatever, just because I am not in a place to deal and have the emotional capacity to do that. Most of the time I do, but there are times where, like the week before my cycle, when things feel a little bit more tense, which makes it a little bit harder. So if you have a toddler, I just want to let you know, I see you. I understand what it's like, how things can go with a toddler. I remember people saying these phrases like, I'm not going to have my kid tell me what to do. And then you have a toddler and you're like, yes, sweetie, whatever cup color you want, I'll just give it to you. Just don't yell, don't throw a tantrum. Or I remember when I was a young mom and our kid was still in the car seat, our first one, and we would go to like the restaurant or something, and tablets were just coming out and like people were just starting to use it with our kids. And I would see somebody hand their child, a toddler, a tablet, so then the parents could eat dinner or lunch or whatever in peace and just have the toddler watch something or play a game on the tablet. And in my head, I was judging those parents so much and thinking to myself, I will never do this. My kid is not going to be on a tablet. And really, like, we try to minimize screen time. Like, we have all the tablets are locked. The kids always need to ask permission before they watch something. Like, I need to know what they're watching. Like, our TV is off most of the time. So, like, our screen time is very limited. It's like a reward for after getting things done. Well, a little bit of time passed, and then I have 2 kids, and we're going to a restaurant, and I have 2 toddlers with me, and I have one that is very cranky, and it's close to their nap time, and they're yelling and screaming, and would you know, pull out that phone, turn on some cartoons just so they sit quietly so I and my husband can eat lunch or dinner in peace without having a toddler that is melting down, screaming, yelling. And I think anybody that doesn't have kids or has young kids that have not been through that stage, it's so easy to judge until you have kids of your own and you have multiple kids and different personalities. You start to have so much more compassion towards other parents and way less judgment. We went through a ton of sickness this fall. I felt like we were taking turns for like 2 months straight. One was sick, then another was sick, then another was sick. And it was just like kind of crazy. We had a family that we knew in Minnesota. It was a Christian family that actually moved to Florida about half an hour away from us. And we've been trying to they have 8 kids. We've been trying to have them come over to our house for dinner. But because like they either had sickness or we had sickness, like literally for 2 months, we could not get together just because of our kids being sick. And we just did not want to pass on more sickness. But finally, it's like in Florida right now, it's end of October. It is so nice outside. It's like in the low 80s during the day. The humidity is not there anymore. It's in the 60s in the morning. It is like nice and breezy in the evenings. It is so gorgeous outside, like absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. And this is why we moved for this weather. I actually ended up getting pretty sure I had strep. I did not get tested for it, but I started to have like sore throat and I kept doing all the natural. I'm the person that does the natural remedies. I don't know if you are into that or not, but I try to take that route first. So I was taking all the natural remedies. I could literally like think of stuff that my mom did, that my mother-in-law did, the garlic, the honey, the onion with honey that you like cut up onions and then you have them sit overnight and then you drain, the honey from that and like you have onion honey juice. I even did castor oil packs on my throat, on my neck, because my glands got really swollen and like I could barely swallow. Like it felt so swollen. And after like a week and a half, I just got to a point where I'm like, I'm doing gargling everything with like salt and, and baking soda and then water and apple cider vinegar. So it's water, salt, and baking soda, and then water and apple cider vinegar, like two separate types of things that you can gargle your throat with. Besides the point, nothing was working, like nothing. And no one else had sore throat in my family. No one else was sick. It was just me. And so I Googled online. I'm like, I think it's strep, like based on the symptoms and everything. So I ended up scheduling one of those, filling out this application. I don't even remember the name of the website, where it's like a doctor looks over your form and then they just prescribe, an antibiotic and you just go pick it up at a pharmacy. So instead of leaving the house and going to urgent care or something, I just did that. And then I got antibiotics, which I probably can count on my fingers how many times I can only remember one other time as an adult taking antibiotics, also for really bad sore throat that was postpartum, like shortly, like a week or two postpartum after my third baby. And so I don't know, but it was just my throat was bad. So I finally took the antibiotics, which it helped. And then it got worse again, which kind of got scared a little bit. But it did make my strep go away. The only thing it did, it actually set me back with my gut issues. If you heard me share on the podcast before, I have like pretty bad stomach issues that I started working with a functional medicine practitioner. I took a bunch of tests. I did a stool and a urine test and a hair sample test and a food sensitivity test. And it came back that I have permanent food sensitivities to gluten, dairy, corn, quinoa, buckwheat, rye, green pepper, chickpeas, peanuts. Those are my permanent for food sensitivities. And my temporary that I have until I heal my gut is like coconut, soy, and oysters and blackberries, which oysters and blackberries, no big deal. But all the other foods that I mentioned that I need to avoid, there are a lot of foods, like anything that's like at a restaurant or processed, like they're like pre-made, pre-packaged. Like I have to cook everything from scratch, which has been actually pretty challenging because I already struggled with cooking for my family because I literally don't have a single meal that everybody in our family likes and enjoys. Like it's either my husband and I like it, the kids don't like it, or two of my kids like it, other people don't like it. Like there literally isn't a single meal that everybody can eat, especially now with the food restrictions for me, and everybody enjoys. And so it's like it can be unhealthy and most people enjoy it, but then I can't eat it. So it's like trying to figure stuff out that is healthy, budget friendly, doesn't take forever to cook because I don't enjoy cooking, and something that my family would eat so I don't have to make 3 different dinners has been so challenging for me. I actually am trying out these new recipes from a new website and blog that I found that I think if I really like it, I will share it with you later on. But the whole like antibiotic thing set me back because I was literally just finishing up my Candida protocol, and Candida is a yeast, and antibiotics really mess with that because when I was on the antibiotics, it gave me a yeast infection and it gave me like super sensitive sore gums, which like I haven't had that in who knows how long. Which it like literally set me back doing the whole pretty much Candida protocol I need to redo. So like my tests have shown me that I had H. pylori, Candida parasites. I have hidden copper toxicity from the copper IUD. And then I have mold in my body. So I just have like a lot of things going on. And then really, really low stomach acid. And so it's like, it's not just like, oh, one thing that's causing my bloating. The reason I started working with functional medicine practitioners is because of my bloating. Like it was severe. really, really bad. And so it was helping. Things were getting better. And then I feel like I went backwards right now because when I took antibiotics, it like flared up the whole candida thing. And like candida is the one that makes you bloat a lot after eating a meal because it's like, yes, anyways. So I need to redo that whole protocol, which is awesome, great, exciting. So like, it's just like a whole thing with my stomach issues that need to be addressed. And like the whole other thing that I mentioned about mold. Oh my goodness. So Florida is a very humid place. I'd probably be really surprised if you found a house that has no mold in Florida, which one of the things that you needed to do in this program, like getting mold out of your body is the last step of the protocols. Well, before you can do a mold protocol, you need to make sure you're not living in a high mold environment. Because if you're living in a high mold environment, you cannot be doing the mold protocol, getting mold out of your body because you're exposed to constant mold. And anyways, it's called a dust test where they send your kit in the mail and you collect dust around your house and you send it back and they tell you what kind of mold you have and the levels of mold. And like if it's a really bad mold or, because there's different types of molds. Anyways, I did get my test results for my house and it did show that we do have mold in our house. It's not insanely high, but there is moderate levels of mold in our house and we are in a rental property. And at this point, we're not going to be moving anywhere. We are just going to stay put. It doesn't seem to be affecting anybody else's health in our house at this point. But mold can be very toxic for your gut lining. And so it is possible that I will reach a plateau. So my next step would be, if it would be our own house, we would hire an inspection company, like a really good inspection company that inspects, tell you exactly where the mold is. Because a lot of times you can't see it because I can't see any mold in the house. I have ideas where it could be under some baseboards on like wooden floors. I think that's what it would be. That would be my idea. But then you hire a completely different company. So there's no conflict of interest to remediate because there's a specific way to do it. Well, anyways, it's like a whole thing. So right now, because we're renting the property, we're just going to leave it as is because it's not like visible mold. My assumption would be that they would want to pay a really good inspection company, which is thousands of dollars to do remediation and inspections. So right now, my next option would be possibly to buy a really, really good air filter, the one that does a really, really good job with removing mold spores because there's like microtoxins. There's a good brand called High Tech Air Solutions that my functional medicine practitioner recommended. She uses that in her house as well because it catches the mold spores and it just filters out the air. So that's possible, something that I will do in the future until I would like to personally build a house, but I don't know what the future holds. The Lord is all in his hands. So whatever he guides us to and what he wants us to do. At the end of September, I did go to a John Crist comedy show with a friend of mine that I met here in Florida. I was on Facebook and I saw that an ad for John Crist, and I saw that he's going to be in the area where we live. And he has a show, and the tickets we were able to buy, tickets that were way far in the back, but we were able to go to his show. And that was exciting and fun because it's like a mom's night out. We were able to just get out and do something fun and just have a good time, laugh. It was wonderful. I don't know if you know who John Crist is, the comedian, but I like his sense of humor. He's the type of humor that I think is really funny and I enjoy, especially when he would talk about the Christian upbringing and how conservative parents, which is so true. One of them is on Sunday mornings, before church, if you're watching any cartoons, it only needs to be Christian cartoons, which is so accurate with my kids. It's like VeggieTales or Paws and Tales or anything about Jesus on Sunday morning or whatever. It's just really, really funny. I remember watching one of his YouTube videos about when should you pray over food. Should you pray over coffee? Should you pray over appetizers? Who should be praying when you're at the restaurant table with your friends? And it's just really funny. I think I'm going to link it for you in the show notes, that YouTube video by him. I just think he's really hilarious, and I find his sense of humor really good. Or there was another video that he made, was like how Christians say no. Like, God is just leading me in a different direction in this season in life. Or, I need to pray about it, versus just like, no, just say no. And finding all these creative ways to say no. Anyways, we had a good time. We went to a show. We had a good time. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you is this month of October. It was really good because I ended up flying with my daughter, my youngest daughter, who's 3 years old. Her and I flew to Minnesota for the weekend. My dad's side of the family, extended family, my cousins, uncles, and aunts, they did a reunion gathering at a campsite, the church's campsite over there. The church that my parents attend, they bought like a big campsite that they have like renovated. And now people get together over there throughout the year. When in the summertime, it's like children's camps, but throughout the year, you can rent out property for like family gatherings. And since we have like 90 members, it was just a really wonderful place for us to get together. And there was a lot of fellowship and worship, and it was just so fun. We played a lot of games. It was beautiful outside. There was like, they developed like a whole program. It wasn't just like, oh, get together, talk, and leave. We had sauna late at night. There was a lot of good food that I did not get to eat because, well, I have a lot of restrictions. But it was just so wonderful, and it was so great. And I am so genuinely thankful for my extended family, my dad's side of the family, because for the most part, people get along really well. There isn't any drama, and it is so beautiful. It is so life-giving. There's just so much laughter and so much joy. And like, how sometimes you hang out in a group of people and then you feel better afterwards just because it like uplifts you and encourages you. Like, I have two uncles that constantly do all these competitions. They just they're like teenagers that are like always excited and wanting to do stuff. And they're in their like 40s and 50s. It's ridiculous. Or both, maybe even closer to 50s. Yes. So it's just super, super fun. We had such a good time. Lots of games. I wish my boys were there too, and so my husband, because I know they would have had a wonderful time. Maybe next time they can come. And I just want to encourage you, maybe if your family doesn't have that, maybe you can create that for your family moving forward, for your children. And when they get married, their families, to go once a year as a family to a cabin and do fun activities. When we lived in Minnesota, would do that also with my parents and my siblings and their families. Once a year, we would rent a cabin, or twice even. And we would take a weekend. It would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We would hang out and play games, go on walks, just like be together as a family. And you get to create that atmosphere in your home. As the mom, you set that tone, because like in my family, my mom is the glue that keeps us all together. She's the one that had these ideas, took action on these ideas, asked her grown children like, hey, let's book a cabin. Can you look it up? Can you book it? Okay, everybody split the cost. This is what we're going to eat. Like, she's the one that took initiative and took action steps, because the idea sounds great, but unless somebody does something about it, she's the one that brings the games and the puzzles for the kids. She's the one that initiates like deep conversations. It's just so good to have. And I'm so grateful to have a mom that does that. She has set such a beautiful example for me, and she creates so many traditions in our home, and I'm truly, truly grateful to have her. Speaking of being a mom that sets the warm, loving tone in the home, I want to ask you a question. When your kids grow up and they're out of the house already, how do you want them to remember you as? How do you want to be known by your kids? When they think back at their childhood, how do you want their home to feel? Do you want their childhood to feel chaotic, stressful, emotionally unstable, crazy, busy? Or do you want it to be peaceful and calm and stable and loving, compassionate and kind? Sure, there were hard moments, there were hard seasons, but what kind of atmosphere as a mom, what kind of tone did you set in your house? And I want to ask you this question. What kind of tone do you set in your house when your kids come home from school? Or when you are home with them all day, what kind of tone do you set in your house? I remember as a kid, when I was in middle school, my mom would work some of the days, and she was a house cleaner, and sometimes we would come home and she's not home, and she'd show up like half an hour later. And I still remember every time I would walk through that door and mom's not home, like the house just felt cold and empty. Even as an adult, I would sometimes come to my parents' house on Sunday after church because we would go to an American church and my parents go to a Russian church in Minnesota. And I would come to their house with like all four of my kids. And my parents still did not make it home from church. And so, I would just go to the kitchen, start, prepping the meal for everybody when everybody would come home after church. And the house, just like mom was not there. The house felt empty. The house felt cold. But as soon as my mom walks through the door, like everything shifts in a positive way. So I want to encourage you that you can do that for your family. You can create that environment, that peaceful energy that comes from you as a mom when you come into the house, that when you are gone, that your kids miss you and they notice that you're not there and they want to be around you. You get to set that tone. And I just want to let you know that I'm here for you. If you're struggling, if you are drowning in anger, if you're constantly reacting and you want change, you desperately want change, and you've tried things on your own and it just hasn't helped, you haven't found a solution, I can help you. I can help you save time, save energy. I can help you. I have a step-by-step process. I have a 12-week coaching program that is 100% money back guarantee. That's one. I have payment plans. You have an ability to invest in yourself so you can show up as a mom that you're proud of. So you can create that peace and calm in your home and you can set that positive example for your kids. So you can start enjoying being a mom instead of dreading it every single day and just hating the way that you show up. If you show up 100% for this program, I guarantee you're going to see such a massive transformation in your life. It is impossible for you to show up and do the work and not see positive changes. I promise you, you will. If this is something that is interesting to you, if you are ready to take the next step and you want to make changes now in your life to become a calm Christian mom, you can book a consultation call with me. If you scroll down in the show notes, there is a link that you can click on that says book your free consultation call. And you and I will get on a call and have a conversation about how I can support you and if my program is the right fit for you. I cannot wait to connect with you. Looking forward to it, my friend. I am praying over you. I am so thankful that you're here. If you found this podcast valuable and other episodes of the show valuable, please share it with a friend. I appreciate you so much. Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.